Let's take you to KwaZulu-Natal, where the remains and spirit of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi will be fetched by his family at a mortuary in Ulundi to return home ahead of his funeral. The 95-year-old will be laid to rest in a special official Category 1 funeral as accorded by President Cyril Ramaphosa earlier this week. We touch base with Newzroom Africa's reporters Ziyanda Ngcobo as well as Bongani Gema, who are in Ulundi, while Karinda Jagmohan is in Durban. Ziyanda Ngcobo, let's start with you. I believe you are inside the homestead. What do we know at this hour? What's happening there?
Well, dude, I can tell you, as I'm not on shot, you can see the vehicles that are arriving at the homestead, Wapindangene, where these are the vehicles that will ferry the family of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi. They just arrived, I'd say about 5 minutes ago. You would have heard a short while ago from the prince, who's the son of Buthelezi, that's Zuzifa Buthelezi, explaining how they are going to leave here at 2 p.m. bound for the mortuary in Ulundi. It's not really that far away, dude. I'd say it's between 5 to 10 kilometers away from where we are. So you can see those vehicles now getting stationed inside the homestead. And earlier on, we also heard that there will be no need to do ihlahla lompahlo, which is usually to fetch the spirit of deceased, because of the fact that Buthelezi passed away here at home. So his spirit would have, been here at home when his spirit and flesh separated, and so there won't be a need for that particular process. But the entire family, of course, will then move to Ulundi, where they will go then have their final moments with their father before he comes back to his home. The remains of Shenge will return home before he is laid to rest tomorrow, according to that special official funeral Category 1. So as we wait here, we understand that the Amabuto who are stationed in various parts of Ulundi have been spread out, and there will be a guard of honor from Ixeboletu in Ulundi all the way up to Kwapindangene, as the residents of Ulundi prepare to say goodbye to someone who they've described as an icon, a true leader, and a peaceful man.
Of Ulundi prepared to say goodbye. We also heard during the memorial service, Ziyanda Ngcobo, that the family has received messages of condolences from as far as the Dalai Lama, China, the ZCC here at home, the Tsonga royal family, or the Watsonga royal family as well. And so while the family prepares to leave the homestead, let's touch base with Bongani Gema, who is stationed outside of the homestead where Amabuto are positioned. Bongani, what can you tell us?
Well, Dudu, we are now at the location where the military is busy conducting their drills. I just quickly want to step out of shot so that my colleague can show you they've already formed their guard of honor, because, the vehicles that are here, as you said in your intro, to fetch the family have already made their way into the residence. We're expecting them to come out any, minutes. But for now, the military has already formed their drill. As you know, that this is a Category 1 funeral. The traditional prime minister will be handed over to the military, as the minister Peggy Kele mentioned yesterday, that his remains will then be handed over to the military as per the Category 1 funeral, is expected. But for now, the Amabuts have now settled down, because you saw them, making their way into the residence, where they received all their instructions, because they've been separated into groups. There is a group that is going to remain here at the residence to wait for the remains. As soon as the remains make their way to the residence, this group will be ready to welcome Umtwana Wawapindangene. Other neighbors have also made their way into the residence. Members of the Inkatha Freedom Party, and people from across, the country who really did love Umntwana Wakaphindangene, because throughout the week we've been speaking to residents, describing him as a man who stood who stood for them and chose them a lot, especially when it comes to issues, of integrity and respect. He really represented this town of Ulundi very well. I think one man even mentioned that even during, the July 2021, riots, he was the one who went out to protect the town of Ulundi from being, totally, looted and distracted. So this is a giant, really, especially for the residents of Ulundi, who are saying, they'll be out in their numbers, especially today as they form their guard of honor to welcome, his remains into the homestead. After the accident, the traditions of the family will then kick in, which we know we are not able to get them to speak about, because you understand there's so much secrecy when it comes to that. But for now, we'll just remain here and wait for the family to make their way out to the mortuary to fetch the remains of Umntwana Wakaphindangene.
Bongani, Gema, as he outlined, as part of the special category 1 funeral that includes military honors, and of course flags are flying at half-mast across the country. Let's take you to Durban, where Karinda Jagmohan is standing by to tell us what it is that you are seeing at this hour. Karinda.
Dudu, I've actually made my way to Ulundi, to the residence of the Buthelezi family. I'm just a few meters away from where my colleague Ziyanda was earlier, where outside the royal residence a tent is being set up, and this is where a night vigil will be held. Take a look behind me, where the photo of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi stands. Hambakashle, go well. Of course, once the mortal remains of the late prince arrives here about this afternoon, we expect it will then be, the remains rather, will then be kept at or placed at a rondavel just next to this tent, and throughout the night, close family members of the Buthelezi clan will be seated here for a vigil that will go on throughout the night. Of course, preparations are underway for this night vigil, and then of course in preparation for that special official funeral that will take place tomorrow at the stadium in Ulundi. So right now it is really a buzz in terms of preparation, where you see chairs being set up, testing for sound as well. And of course, just outside the gate, my colleague Bongani is Amabuta, and members of the military are also preparing their guard of honor. And so we expect just nearby for the cars to come along the road just next to me. In fact, you'll see perhaps my colleagues Ngobande and I can just turn this way, and you see more family members just sort of gathering here, trying to find their placement around the area. Members of the media as well setting up for that moment when the members of the Buthelezi clan will go into those vehicles and make their way to the mortuary in Ulundi. It's going to be a moment throughout this process of remembering the late prince for the leader that he was in terms of culture, in terms of politics, and in terms of education as well, as we heard yesterday at the Mangosuthu University of Technology. So right now there's just many discussions as well on the ground about the work that the late prince did, as we prepare for the moment when the family will leave this homestead.
Karinda, Jagmohan, Bongani, Gema, Ziyanda Ngcobo in Ulundi for us ahead of the funeral of Prince Mangosuthu Buthelezi.